Alright, what's going on YouTube? Today we're going to take a look at some of the questions you guys left at the attack move click video. If you have no clue what the hell I'm talking about and this is the first time watching any video in my channel, you should go watch the attack move video first. I'm going to take a lot of questions from there and then I'm going to answer them on this video. By the way, before we start anything, I would like to thank you so much for all the support, and the amount of views on that video is crazy. At least to me. I know 55,000 views to some people might not seem like much, but never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that that video in particular would make it that big. Hopefully the videos to come will be just as entertaining or informative as that one. So without further ado, let's get into the thick of some of these questions. Our first question comes from Humunculus Jeepers, and he asks, "Hi, what's the difference between player attack move and player attack move click?" So the main difference between regular attack move and attack move click, you kind of have to think of it like with spells. Right? With spells, you have the regular version of the spell, in which you have to cast the spell and then have a confirmation towards where you want to direct the spell. And then you have Quick Caster, the Smart Cast version, in which you don't have to confirm where you're going to target the spell directionally. Instead, it just gets immediately targeted towards where your mouse is. So if I had regular without spellcast on my queue, I would have to issue a command to bring up the queue interface, so to speak, and then do another command to actually cast the spell. In this way, all I have to do is press the Q, and where my mouse is heading, she'll just move. Right? Exactly the same thing happens with attack move and attack move click. Regular attack move is very simple. It brings up the HUD for where your auto attack range is, and then you cast it kind of like attack move click. So the difference is attack move click is the smart cast version of regular attack move. We can take a look at other options we have here in the menu other than attack move click and regular attack move. I said none of these were very important in the video about attack move click, and I mean, it's true. If you followed the video exactly how I laid it out, then it's probably not very important. But some of you really wanted to know about what about the other things that are on the player movement menu. So one of the ones we have here is attack only click. Now what this does is your character won't move when you press this. All it will do is try to auto attack whatever is closest. You see, she started auto attacking right there, but she won't move anywhere. I'm basically spamming shift space, which is what I had bound to it. So Bane will attack anything that's on her sides, but she won't move other than that. See, she's not moving anymore. I'm spamming the keys. So that's the first thing under that menu. Pretty useless, honestly. You'd never really want to just stay in one spot auto attacking regardless of the role which you're playing, so pretty useless. Pretty much never use that. Then you have, we already discussed, player attack move, which is the normal version of the smart cast quote-unquote version. Here, player attack move click. Then we have player hold position. All this does is when you're walking around, I had it bound to H. If I'm walking around like this and then I press H, Vayne automatically stops walking. So I can do this. She just stops walking. However, if you're auto attacking on some character and you want to stop auto attacking, this won't stop you from doing it. All it does is, inhibit the movement of Vayne. So if I'm auto attacking Alistar and then I move, well, it won't work very well because I have auto attack disabled, but she would look for a target right after I stop moving her. Anyways, but that's where this other one comes into play, which is player stop position. Now, hold position, all it did was stop the movement, but stop position stops every action the champion was taking. Now, I'm not sure about channeled spells and how this works with channel spells, but I think the channel spell gets cast when you do hold position, or stop position rather. So yeah, there's that. And finally, we have the pet move click, which I have it bound to Alt mouse button to. All it does is if you're playing something like Annie, where she has Tibbers up, that counts as a pet. And with Alt mouse button 2, at least for me right here, what it does is it moves the tibbers around or whatever. And that's pretty much about it for player movement. Sotorius asks, if you bind it to space, do you have to press the space bar all the time due to a fight? Yes, basically that's what you have to do. I'm gonna demonstrate it here a little bit. Every time I want to auto attack Alistar, I will be clicking the space bar. I hope that you can hear it here. Try to make it as loud as possible. Every time I'm auto attacking Alistar, I'm hitting space bar. So yeah, you have to do that. Rolls Rules asks, you do something similar for junglers instead of ADs? Now this is a question that some of you guys asked, but I'm not sure how to answer it, because when it comes to jungling, it's pretty much exactly the same mechanic. Now, the only caveat is that when you start using this ability, as you can tell, the minions, since they're neutral enemies, that you won't target them until you've aggroed them. So the first input is going to have to be manual, but after that, it's just regular attack move. And I'm going to try to stay at melee range for you to see. Say for example you were playing Wukong or another melee jungler, you can still do this the same way. It's exactly the same mechanic, as you can tell. And you don't have to like mouse over the minions. It's actually even easier to do it in the jungle, because when you move around, as you can tell, I'm just issuing the attack command. Vayne does it on the spot, and she does it to whatever is closest to where I last issued the command. But yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same mechanic, no difference. You just use it, walk around and whatnot. When it comes down to efficiency, since I don't play jungle that often, I don't feel comfortable giving you advice on how to be efficient in taking damage in the jungle, but you can definitely look that up when it comes to kiting in the jungle from someone that actually knows what they're talking about. Mr. CosXWX, Valor.Victorian, and Breaks93 pretty much ask, is this only useful on ADCs, or can you extend this to other ranged champions and melee champions as well? Now, under the logic of the last question, yes, this is mostly useful on attack damage carries. However, junglers can also benefit from this in pretty much any player. That's why I said at the beginning of the video, it's probably the best advice I could give to any League player, because it's such a game changer. It's kind of like when you go from regular casted spells to smart casted spells. It's very different to play the game with attack move click. So it's essentially the same kind of mechanic. You see, I'm issuing the auto attack commands and it's exactly the same thing. Now, like I said before, I'm not like a jungler or anything, so I wouldn't know how to essentially make sure that you make the most out of the mechanic, but it's very good for kiting, so it only makes sense that it's also good in the jungle. Rolf asks if you can put a tag move click on your left mouse button. This is a pretty complicated answer for like this whole video, which is already heavy enough. So the shorthand answer is yes, you can put it on your left mouse button. However, it's a little bit more complicated than just going over here and changing it. If I go over to player movement and then attack move click, I'm going to try to bind it to my left mouse button. It's actually impossible. You see, it's impossible. It won't let me, because this mouse button is already issued to do things like open the shop or click on the map. So in order to make it not too messy in the UI, I think they disabled it. However, there's a way to do it if you change the configuration file. I'll leave the video on the screen right now with a little thumbnail and the video in the description for you to check out if you want to make the change. However, I would not recommend it because of what I already said. It's issued towards other things. You can make the change, but at the end of the day, you really don't want to change it. Say for example, if you're playing at a tournament and the tournament is somewhere presential in which they give you the PC you're playing on, it's not your PC, you won't be able to change those things on the spot, or you would have to remember it or look up the video. It takes a lot of logistics to do it, and it kind of feels like cheating. So I would honestly not recommend it, but if you really want it, click the annotation right now on the screen or the link in the description to check out someone else's video who has already done this. Amat Baha, Sakalo And Jeremy Lowe asks, if you try this when there's nearby minions and champions, which one does it target first? Or which one does it prioritize? Now this is kind of complicated for me to answer because there is actually no answer. We checked through the entire player movement set, and there is nothing that just specifically targets only champions. I think that's kind of important and it should be added, but I don't know, it isn't there. So the only answer I can realistically give you is you have to make sure that you auto attack as close to the champion as possible. So for example, here we have Alistar close to some minions, right? If I auto attack right here, Vayne is going to start auto attacking whatever's closer to her. But if I'm really close to Alistar and a minion, I can really mess up. Instead of auto attacking Alistar, I could end up, I don't know, auto attacking a minion like I did right there, instead of auto attacking Alistar. So you're gonna have to be extra careful of when you auto attack and really understand and learn your champion's range. You see right there, I auto attack the minion instead of auto attacking Alistar, for example. So that's one of the things you have to keep in mind when doing this, is that if you want to auto attack a specific target, try to make sure that your mouse is on the target and that the target is in range, because otherwise you're gonna mess up. I have messed up, it's awful, but currently there's just no way to fix it inside the game. I'm not sure if you can hack into it, maybe do something kind of weird, but that would be unadvisable. And finally, FMLSA Redum asks, how do you center your champ on your screen if spacebar is bound to attack move click? So how do I do this to keep the camera centered on my champion? Well, obviously, all you have to do is just bind it to another key. I happen to find attack move click a lot more comfortable on the spacebar. It's just like the way I've played ever since I started playing with attack move click, which is about a year and a half ago, 1 year ago. So what I did is, over here in camera control, in the option center camera champion, all I have is mouse button 1. Mouse button 4, which is just a button on the side of my mouse, which controls where do I center the camera on my champion. And that's pretty much all the questions you guys sent. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for so many views in that video. It really turned my channel upside down. I didn't even think it would get that big when I initially recorded it, and there's no one here to thank but you guys. Thank you so much. If you subscribed from that video, a lot of good stuff coming. Hopefully you stick around, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.